So greetings from Pennsylvania once again, and in this video we are still on the continuation of my Potter and McKean County road trip. As the title of the video says, we are at the ruins of the Austin Dam up here in Potter County, Pennsylvania, just north of the town of Austin, kind of in the middle of nowhere. But I have a confession to make. I'm not, while filming this clip right here, I'm not currently at the ruins of the Austin Dam. I had to kind of redo a few clips to this video. I guess I had some technical difficulties that morning while I was filming, and I didn't realize until I got home the next day and started reviewing the footage. I noticed that quite a few of the clips earlier on that morning were not, the focus was way off, so I didn't realize that till too late. But anyway, it doesn't matter. I'm actually wearing the same outfit I was that day, just to help these new inserts I have to put in to fit in better. Anyway, I'm gonna quit blabbing about that. I'm gonna show you a view from the top where I parked, looking down at the ruins of the dam. It is an amazing sight just to see the power and the destruction that water can have. So I'm gonna show you that view that I took later in that morning, and then I'm gonna give you a few other introductory facts about the dam, and then we'll continue the original part of the video as I walk down towards the ruins. Yeah, so you got a brief clip of the ruins from up above, and you'll see that clip, an extended version of that clip later on in this video. It's just neat to see it from up top there. But anyway, this dam was built in 1909, and it was destroyed only 2 years later in 1911. So it didn't even last. I think it barely lasted 2 years. So it burst September 30th of 1911, and of course the town of Austin is downstream from it, and it utterly destroyed that town. You'll see some pictures later on in the video, and 78 people died in that flood. It was the second worst dam failure in Pennsylvania. And the sad thing is, it could have been avoided. It could have been avoided, but the guy who had the dam built, George Bayless, of course the dam was built to operate a paper and pulp mill further downstream, and I'll talk more about that later in the video. But George Bayless is responsible for it. Yeah, like I said, I'll talk about that later in the video too. And it's kind of sad. It could have been avoided, but because of him, it wasn't. All right, so we're gonna head down. There's a trail up there. We're gonna head down and actually get down to where the ruins are. Well, there's a trail from the overlook up here, so we're gonna head on down. Once again, those are just amazing views. I think that's highway. That's 872, the highway over there. It's kind of cool. You can see the ruins from the highway. Of course, what happened here isn't terribly cool because quite a few people died, and it didn't have to be that way. Yeah, you can see we're actually going to step over the dam here. Yeah. And they've turned it into a park. There's lots of camping down there. So this place is massive. I should say these ruins are. I guess we'll go down this way. Yeah, when you get down to the bottom, these ruins are even bigger. And I'll give you some perspective shots later of me walking up to them. We can go down even further. Of course, some parts here are just completely crumbled. All right. This is pretty awesome. I've seen a number of other videos of people here, and I've just been wanting to come myself for a while now. A lot of power broke this dam apart. Wow, look how it's all cracked and bowed out and stuff. But some of that's due to the poor construction of it. Wow, they're tall. Yeah, so here we are sitting in the shadows of these ruins, and like I said, I've seen these in other videos, but it's something entirely different to be here and see it for yourself. It's pretty awesome. So yeah, definitely worth coming. Well, because this is part of my road trip that I'm on here, up here in Potter County. Last night we were camping, was at Lyman Run State Park, and we saw the bear, camping with bears. Alright, let's go ahead and walk through the ruins here. Man, these are tall. There's a lot of water being held back here. I can get a look at it from the other side here. Let me back up in a moment. Yeah, wow, look at that. Actually, let me back up quite a bit further yet so you can get it all on scale. Yeah, so here you go. We parked up there. We're looking down earlier. So yeah. And over there, it's completely like twisted and turned out, and there's chunks of it laying down here. Down there's the actual stream that flows through that was blocked up by the dam. Wow, you can see like different areas where the water eroded out of it. Yeah, and here's where the current creek flows through the dam. Yeah, look how this one is just twisted out of position compared to that over there. That's just crazy. And you can see all the metal work too. Some of the, I guess the rebar, I guess we'd call it, was in here. Attempting to hold this together. But wow. I'll try to get a few more perspective shots, but there's some machinery running back there. The guy who cleans out the job Johnnies is here doing his work. Important work it is. It's those porta potties, I guess you could call them, for the campground there. But yeah, right now it's a beautiful little place. Yeah, there's a whole other chunk of it. Actually, right where I'm standing is where that chunk would be. But now it's over there. So wow. It's pretty peaceful here right now. So as mentioned earlier, this dam was built by George Bayless for the pulp and paper mill that he had downstream, because we need water for a paper mill, pulp mill. But they had built a smaller earthen dam years earlier, but it was not sufficient enough for the amount of water they needed. So they had this concrete one built, and because there were not many regulations. In fact, back then there were no regulations as to what you could do, stuff like this. If you wanted to build a dam, you could. So that's what they did. And the architect isn't necessarily to blame. He had a design that he gave to George Bayless, suggesting different things that should have been done, but George took shortcuts. He didn't want to pay. Yeah, that's the way it goes. I mean, the guy was rich already. He owned his own paper mill and everything, but he didn't want to pay the extra money to have the dam built the way it should. So shortcuts were made, which I'll discuss a little bit later in the video, some of them. And as a result of those shortcuts, 78 people died, which is, like I said earlier, was just a total shame. But yeah. It is quite nice back here though. I'm back on the other side of the dam. They do have a number of nature trails that go back here. If I had more time, I'd hike back here a little bit, but I've got a schedule to keep today. And right there are our ruins again. So we're on the side where the water would have been. It's pretty awesome. Yeah, and only several months after building this dam, it already showed signs of failing. It was starting to crack and to bow out, or bow out, I guess you'd say. And they kind of ignored those safety things. They said the cracks were just natural from the concrete drying and stuff like that. And 2 months before it actually failed, it almost failed during a flood. And I think they did I think they blasted out a section of it at the top to let the water out. Because one thing they didn't install was like a valve system. So in case of flooding, they could release the water pressure. The valve system would mean having some pipes going through somewhere that they could, turn the valves on and off to let more water out instead of having all the water being held up back here during flood time. But none of those safety features were taken. It did hold during that flood, just barely. And there were a number of recommendations made in order to keep it from potentially failing in the future. But as you would guess, none of those precautions were taken. And 2 months later, the dam actually did fail utterly, as you can see. Like I said earlier, the architect had done, I guess, a fairly good job of designing a dam. Like I said, George Bayless made shortcuts. And I think one of those shortcuts included having the foundations of the dam extend further down into the ground. But yeah, he didn't have that done then. And also, I think these walls are supposed to be thicker, almost like 30 feet thick down at the bottom, but he didn't want that to happen either. He wanted to save money. So, I love that shot, sorry. Looking up through there. So there's just a number of things, like I said, that should have been done, but weren't. Yeah, and during that flood that happened 2 months before the dam broke, they had an opportunity there to fix some of these features, but once again, George Bayless didn't see the need to make those changes, or maybe he did, but he didn't do it in enough time. So, yeah. But because of this dam, actually, this is actually the second largest dam failure in Pennsylvania. But because of this failure, in 1913, the state of Pennsylvania started making regulations about the constructions of dams. Personally, I'm not always the biggest fan of regulations, but things like this, when you build something like this thing is huge, and it could kill a lot of people. So you need to, if it does fail, it doesn't just affect you, it affects everybody downstream. So there are times where regulations are needed. And it's cool that they have little trails winding around through the ruins. Here you can walk through another gap in the walls of the old dam. I think it's cool that they turned this place into a park instead of just leaving it neglected and stuff. Okay, so up here is a little memorial to all the victims. Like I said, there's 78 in total. Kind of cool, right in front of. And you just saw that previous shot where I walked up right there. It gives you a good scale of how tall this is. Here they are, all 78 victims. Lots of people with the same last names, so his whole families were killed. in this. Let me scroll down each one here. Lots of, oh, how do you say it? Onofrios. Whole families are gone. Yeah. Alright, just another look at the ruins from this side. They're just really awesome to look at. Pretty impressive. Alright, I'm going to walk around just a little bit more. There are a few signs up about the history of what happened here. Some other foundations and stuff. So I'm just going to walk around just a little bit before let me get out in the shade so we can see just a few more things pertaining to what happened here. Then we'll head on to our next location. So just down from the ruins is a sign that one of the locals pointed out to me here. It's kind of interesting. Ms. Cora Brooks, one of Austin's most colorful turn-of-the-century citizens. She operated a local brothel on a hill adjacent to the dam. Upon seeing the dam break, she began calling townsfolk, including the operator. Her efforts are credited with saving hundreds of more lives. So that's pretty interesting. I guess that's a picture of her there. The end of the pavilion here, they have quite a few pictures. Like here's what the dam looked like before it broke. You can kind of see it over there, what it looks like now. That's pretty neat. Like there it is, with the water in it. Isn't there a picture of it? Some water pouring over the top. Wow. These are some pictures of the destruction that took place. Wow. Pretty interesting. So another view of the ruins from up top. Like I said, they are quite impressive. A whole interesting setup down there. I think there's, of course you can camp down there, but I think there's people that actually live down there. They got water and electric. It's pretty cool. And sadly, I don't think George Bayless was held accountable initially for what happened here. But I think in later years, if I remember, I know I read up on this a little bit a couple days ago, but I think in later years some action was taken because of what happened here. But initially he wasn't held responsible. It's kind of, things have changed a lot since back then. If that's what had happened today, oh my goodness, people, heads would have been rolling. But yeah, interesting spot here. I'm going to head down to the abandoned paper mill that George Bayless owned and operated here a little bit. So, and just one more shot. This is what I showed right at the beginning of the video, this view. Alright, so thanks for coming along on this little adventure. I'm going to continue my road trip day. Like I said, we're going to explore the abandoned mill. You can take, there's a dirt road that you can take back there. Right now it says private drive, and I've heard it's pretty rough. Of course, the guy down there said I could probably make it, but I think I am going to go the long way around, come back in the safer way. Alright, yeah, but if you have the ability to come see these for yourself, go ahead and do it. Alright, I'll see you in the next video. Thanks for watching.